Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
What's happening, people? We're back. 12th man's back. Please make sure you show Manscaped some love, as Dave is doing there. Please make sure you do me a favor and click on the link in the pinned comments. 20% off of the Beard Hedger, the best beard trimmers around. Manscaped is back. You will know about them. Please make sure you click on the link. It will take you through to the website. All you've got to do is select the Beard Hedger. It will go into your cart with 20% off. So please make sure you don't miss that deal. Big up to everybody in the chat. Please make sure you do me a favor and hit a like and a subscribe. There's almost 100 of you here already. Great stuff. Good evening to you all. We're going to be talking about transfers. We're going to be talking about the weekend games, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the thoughts of the panel. We've got Dave Asprey in the house. Welcome back, Dave. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good to go, mate. Yeah, I'm still alive. That's the main thing, mate. So it's just lovely to see you, Dan. Lovely to see the boys, and get back to our normal Thursday nights, mate. It's great stuff. Good to see everybody.
Come on. Likewise, bro. Likewise. Emilio, back in the house. How are you, my friend?
Very good. It's been too long, hasn't it? 3 months. I know we've had the Euros in between, but yeah, it's just great to be back in Premier League. I'm not actually mentally quite ready for all these football games, but it's like we're here now. 3 months have flown by, and yeah, interesting season ahead. But yeah, great to be back here on a Thursday with these fantastic guys on the call.
100%, man. 100%. Great to have you back as well, my friend. And likewise, Matty, back in the house, my friend. Ivan Toney is still here. We're going to be talking about that. How are you, mate?
Yeah, it's been my usual question for Brentford or not Brentford supporters who are saying what's happening. So yeah, I'll try and give you some sort of update and lowdown on that. Not that I can offer much, but yeah, lovely to be back, lads. Good to see you all. Come on, man. Absolute pleasure. And somebody who's back. I've been waiting for this one. Ash, the return of Ash. Leicester. They're back in the Premier League, which means we get Ash back for the season. How you doing, mate?
How are you guys? You all good? How are you doing?
Very well, man.
Didn't think I'd be back this soon, to be honest, but you know.
Listen, you're welcome back, my friend. You're welcome back. I'm really annoyed, actually, because Chelsea have just scored, and someone said, Chloe's in the chat, that they were losing, or they thought they were going to be losing. But they're finally winning after 50 minutes. This fantastic Maresca ball that everyone tells me that Don tells me is going to win them the league, is now allowing them to beat Servette by 1-0. Well done,
wow.
Chelsea. Well done.
Serviette.
Yeah. Serviette. Yeah, a Serviette. They're beating a Serviette 1-0 in the Conference League playoffs. This is how the mighty have fallen. This is the Chelsea that Roman Abramovich won everything with. And now, look at the state of them. It's beautiful to see, man. I hope long may it continue. I'll tell you that now. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Chelsea. That was last night. Please make sure you do us a favour and go check out last night. And just tell me in the comments who you thought was more deluded at that panel, please. Because I'm sitting there, I'm trying to work it out myself, man. This is London Was Back. Make sure you go check it out, people. Make sure you check out you Gooners in the house, myself and Curtis earlier, talking all things Arsenal. So please make sure you go check that one out as well. I'm going to start with Dave tonight because Eddie Nketiah in the room. It looks like you're going to sign him. £32 million in total with all of it in. What do you make of it as a Forest fan? Because there's a lot of Arsenal fans that are saying that, look, Eddie's actually not a bad player. Eddie's a good lad. That's true. He's a really good lad, by the way. I've met him. Lee's met him. He's a top lad. You'll absolutely love the personality and the player that is Eddie Nketiah. Will you love the player on the pitch? I hope so, because I actually want him to have a really good career, and I hope that he will come and score goals for you. And a lot of people I've spoken to have said, yeah, do you know what? It suits him. He'll play well there. He'll score goals. But what does yourself and Forest fans like Dora and Des, what do you guys think of this signing? Real talk.
I don't think it's one that sort of got us preparing the open top bus tour, up and down the banks of the Trent, to be honest with you, Gaffer. But to me, I haven't had any really strong thoughts about it. It's quite nice actually not to have had any really strong thoughts about any of Forest's transfer business this season, which means that from 2 years ago, when like literally every transfer, episode was like bells and whistles and all sorts of things going off. And we were the Chelsea of 2 years ago, if you like, where we were just signing old ladies because they could breathe and carry bags of shopping and things like that. Now it seems a little bit more considered, which I'm really happy about. I mean, in summary, Dan, I think this has been our best nearly 3 months since we were promoted. We avoided another points deduction. We dealt problems. I thought that in dealing with PSL problems, we would have to get rid of either Murillo or Morgan. We've kept both of them. We did some other business, and it seems like an adult has finally got in the room at Nottingham Forest. So all of the signings, be it Carlos Miguel, be it Eric da Silva Moreira, be it Milenkovic, Elliot Anderson, they all seem really quite shrewd sort of signings without, the Jesse Lingard-esque carnival that we had 2 years ago. So with regard to Eddie, I the lad gets the benefit of the doubt for me. I've seen him have some really good games for Arsenal. What I would say is I've been crying out for another goal scorer, somebody slightly different to Woody and Taiwo, who are obviously going to be sort of our target men guys. So Eddie offers something a little bit different. And while none of us are all like, wow, what an amazing signing. I think he could be quite a canny little deal, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
What do you make of the actual money? And I'll ask the panel this as well, actually, because there's a lot of people said that it's an absolute mad money. But then I'm seeing Broja go to Ipswich for 30 million, Delap going for 25 million to Man City. Do we think that's like fair money then if Forest are getting 30? I mean, Matty, I'll ask you. You're nodding your head. Do you think that's a good deal in the end for Forest? About right or what?
I think it's still a gamble. I think 30 million for a player that's been in and out of a squad is always going to be a gamble. But
yeah,
it's just the way the market is, man. I mean, the biggest one for me over the last few weeks is 65 million for Solanke, which I spat my tea out when I heard that. Like, what an absolutely, it's insane. But to be fair, I remember this time last season before, we were talking about Cole Palmer going to Chelsea for whatever that was, and all my mates in the group chats were like, "What an absolute joke!" and look how it materialised. So, like, you do have to take these gambles, take these punts on players in this day and age. And I personally like Nketiah. Obviously, I think Brentford, when the Toney stuff was first coming up with an Arsenal link, there was chats about Nketiah going the other way. I don't really know how much substance there was behind, but I wasn't against it. I just think you have to pay a premium for these players in this day and age. But I think he'd do well. I think if he gets games, I've just seen someone put in the chat there as well. If he gets a good run of games, he's a decent player, and I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, I think the idea about, like, Matt is absolutely right, Dan. The market has gone berserk, really. I mean, my footballing sort of consciousness goes back a long, long time, and there were times when, like, you were paying 100,000 for playing, everybody's going, it's way too much, and it's I mean, really, if you look at it in the round, there are people struggling to kind of heat their houses, put food on the table, and all this kind of stuff. The amounts of money that are moving around are actually, frankly, immoral, really. But it is what it is, and it's the environment that you work in. I mean, like Matty says, he's shown some good stuff for Arsenal. I remember him one night winning a game for Arsenal at Chelsea, and I thought, kid looks sharp, and if he's a good guy, Forest seem to be picking guys on character at the moment, and the team spirit, to my, to the evidence presented to my eyes at the moment, is really, really good. We're going to struggle again. We're going to be in that bottom 5 or 6 again. That's the way of it. But I'm slightly more quietly optimistic than I was before. You know what I mean? So he comes. It's just
Can I admit something to you now, Dave? Nice and early. Can I bring in my confession now?
Yeah, go on.
I think this might be the year Forest go down, man. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I love you. I love Dora. I love Des. I love you.
See ya.
Yeah, exactly. I love
Dave's
Forest.
left. He's only been on 10 minutes.
Yeah. Just 37 more games to go, Dave, and then
yeah, 37 more games. Listen, you know I love Forest. I want Forest in the Premier League. I think your ground's fantastic, your fan base fantastic, your club's fantastic. I just don't know about Nuno, and I don't know about your owner, man. I just find him very hard work, and I just feel like what the other. Listen, I'm obviously a little bit biased towards Ipswich Town because obviously I really want them to do well.
Good club. Good club.
Yeah, they are, and I just don't see who else. If it ain't Ipswich, who else is it? I've got Everton floating around there as well. Again, if I'm honest, in trouble. And they might even get more points deductions they're talking about as well. Everton, I don't know how true that is. So I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. And it's not, when you do predictions and you put them in the bottom 3, everyone goes mental and says, "Why don't you like my club?" Well, that ain't because I don't like your club. I absolutely love Nottingham Forest, and I like the other 2 clubs I've put in the relegation battle as well. But I just got to be realistic, and I just think Have Forest done enough this window? I hope so. Is Eddie going to keep you up? I hope so. I'm just not so sure, man. But I wanted to get your thoughts because, like, you're realistic and honest about Forest. You never said, "Oh, we're going to come finish 10th or 9th."
To be honest with you, Dan, I get browbeaten on a daily basis with a billion messages of defensiveness about one's own football club.
Yeah.
Right. People who, if somebody says to me, Forest did something stupid, generally, if I think it's stupid, I'll say it's stupid rather than
100%.
Forest, there are, naming no names, but there are some people you can level an accusation against and go, no, that's all part of the methodology.
Exactly.
And it isn't. And I kind of look, I don't know if you notice, my sort of incursions onto that WhatsApp group are relatively rare, if at all, because I find I get swamped by a blizzard of my club's actually brilliant and your club's not, and all this nonsense, which is frankly infantile. I actually think the points you raise, Dan, are valid. Our owner is mercurial, and he can go off. I mean, last year he did not endear himself to me with the tweet after the Everton game. Okay, the decisions were harsh, but I'm afraid unchangeable. And I played football, league football, till I was 43, and there were days when I kind of thought I should have had that decision, but I didn't get it. Move on. Life's too short. I've only got one crack at it, so I'll move on. And I think also
I just feel like, Dave, as well with Marinakis. I just feel like I feel like, are you a football owner? Or are you saying out the Sopranos? What do you think you are? You know what I mean? This is what annoys me about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, Dan, as well, without going into a personal matter, something has been. I've got a great friend. He was a friend of my father, actually. Yeah. When my dad was sort of on the scouting staff at Forest and was doing things with the club and all that, and that friend. Last year had a parking space in the City Ground car park, by the main gate, and he's not got it anymore, and he doesn't get a free table in the lounge. And that guy did probably only Clough and Taylor did more for Nottingham Forest as a football club and as an institution in the community than that guy did. I personally think that guy should get free entry to every single game ever played at the City Ground or any game anywhere for what he did for the club, right? But he's been dispensed with, and I find that disrespectful and dismissive. So the problem with this owner thinks that what he thinks is he thinks he's bigger than the club occasionally. In fact, but there's only ever been one person bigger than our club.
Yeah.
Right. Now that guy is the god of Nottingham Forest, and I go back to him all the time because I'm of an age that I can do. So I think our owner is a loose cannon, Dan. I agree with you. Nuno, the jury. It is still pretty much out. The signings we just don't know, and because the signing. I saw a guy on a podcast this week, a Forest podcast, saying, "Where is the difference maker?" And unless it turns out to be Elliot Anderson, who's really shown up well in pre-season, and our pre-season was pretty positive actually. We beat our last game in pre-season. We played Olympiacos away, won 4-3, and were 4-1 up after 70 minutes. And the Conference League winners, the Europa League winners, were nowhere. So, but the thing is, I'm really grateful to you. I want people to come on and say Forest are going down, because where I get is, honestly, Dan, I'm so pleased. I'm chuffed that you've said we're going down. I'm really happy, mate. And if it turns out, I'll just consult Ashley about how to deal with it, and then he can sort of guide me through. Right? Ashley's my mentor, my champion.
You know that I don't want you. I don't want you down.
But do you know what, Dan? We go back a year to this show, and we were talking about the relegation scrap, and at the time, all of us, because Lopetegui walked and they had PSR issues and who's going to manage them, and they looked in the stat. We all had Wolves to go down, and Wolves were safe way before the end of the season. And I just hope, not entirely sure, just hope Forest are the Wolves of this season, and I can have maybe 4 or 5 games at the end of the season where I don't have to worry about that big spectrum. So,
well, listen, I will say, and I mean, I want to move on from Forest. We don't have long tonight. We've got a couple close to play, but I will say this. Nottingham Forest should score goals, right? Not just because they bought Eddie. That's not forget Eddie. You should score goals anyway. Tyrell, when he's a good player, when he's fit. Chris Wood scores goals and always has done for teams, right? When fit. You've obviously got wingers that know how to create and put the ball in the back of it. Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White. There's no real excuses as to why I think Forest will struggle, other than I just think that they're a team that in the last couple of years I need to see a bit more from. And maybe it will be the year that I go, "Oh, Jesus, didn't expect this. Nuno's absolutely killing it." And I hope that is for you, man. You know I like Forest and I always have respected them. But I don't know who else that I can look at right now other than Ipswich. And it probably will be the Ipswich go down. Maybe I'm bigging them up too much and maybe Kieran McKenna can't work miracles. But for me, I like what they've done business-wise. And I just look at them.
Me too.
Do you know what? They're serious about giving this a go. And I'm not seeing that from Everton and Forest like I am Ipswich. So that's why I've gone for them, man. But listen, it is what it is. Listen, big up to Dan Ski, who's a member of YouTube of this channel. Thank you so much, Dan. Absolute legend, man. If you do want to become a member, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and then join, which is next to it. And you can join as a member as well. Emilio, let me come to you next, brother, because Fulham are the club that everybody forgets about. I said this on my show yesterday. Fulham are a team that nobody really talks about ever. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's a good thing for you. I don't know. But I do feel like it's because what you've done is, I think Marco Silva isn't spoken about enough. I think the job he's done is very, very good. I also think there's a couple of really interesting signings that Fulham have made. Okay, you've lost Tosin, you've lost Paulinho. Personally, between you and I wasn't a massive fan of Tosin. I thought he was all right. But Paulinho was an absolute baller. Like, that is a big, big miss, right? Absolute, like, quality player. So how are you feeling right now going into another season, bro?
Look, you're right. We never get credit. I always keep ranting on this show last few seasons. You know, we do well. It's always Tottenham didn't turn up. Liverpool had an off day. Well, actually, give us some credit. We can turn over these big clubs. The problem for me last season was consistency. You know, if we can sort out this consistency, then there's no reason why we can't be comfortably mid-table. But you know, some of our signings are pretty shrewd so far. I'm happy with the transfer window thus far. I think there's still 2 or 3 signings to come, to be honest with you. But I think there's been a bit of statement of intent from the owners here. Said, look, we've released a lot of our older aging players. Bobby Reed's gone, Williams left, Tim Ream's gone. All good servants for the club. They love them to bits. But there's a time and a place for these players to move on, and we've got to build for the next generation of players. We've brought the average age down. We had the oldest squad in the division last year. We've brought that down. Smith Rowe will be a good signing. If we can stay fit, he'll be a great signing for us. And I think he's a marquee signing. The fact that we actually went very early, put money on the table, a bit of a negotiation around the edges, but we got the job done early. He looked off colour against Man United last week, and I think he was intentionally playing out of position to get him settled in and start to get him some game time, but he clearly didn't look 100% fit, nowhere near that. But he's going to be a great signing for us, and I think he's going to chip in with goals. I think that's the key thing. We need our midfielders to sort of all come in and contribute. We brought Sessegnon back. You know, I was against it when that came out. You know, Steve Reynolds is watching. I was actually not happy when we signed it. You can't put sympathy and loyalties. You know, this is a business game, right? It's, you know, it wasn't good enough for Tottenham. We brought him back, okay, for nothing, free transfer, good left wing backup or left-sided defender backup. But he's not good enough to start week in, week out. But then we got Sander Berger. Someone's asking, what do I think of him? Again, I wasn't inspired by that signing this week. That's my only concern. We put 20 million on the table. You know, he's played for lower division clubs. He's got relegated twice. I'm not using that against him, but I'm not sure what he's going to bring. I don't see him being the Paulinho replacement. I actually think we're going to bring in another defensive midfielder. There's this guy from Brazil, Andre, we've been knocking on the door for the last 18 months. Just put one on the table, just get him. I think he's played his last game in Brazil. We clearly want him. He's the player to replace Paulinho. And then Berger will probably be a backup for someone like Harrison Reed or potentially Tom Kearney, who I think have had their days and not quite good enough to play at this level. And then we brought Joachim Andersen back from Palace. I know D's happy to get 30 million for him. I still think he's a very good defender. You know, great on the ball.
Signing, man. No, that's a really good signing.
Slow, but he was an important player for us. You know, got relegated a few seasons ago. He was a very important. He's probably one of my best players that season. But he contributes from set pieces as a threat. Distribution for defense is great. He's probably a captain material as well. I think he potentially will be our captain this season. I think we've got the foundation of a good side. You can see it's all about building from the back this year. Tosin's gone. He's obviously gone to a bigger club in West London and can't even get into a European squad number. So clearly shows he's out of his depth. He'll probably be farmed out very, very soon. But yeah, he wanted to go. He wanted to leave. Sod him. You know, I don't want players. You know, I don't want players at this club who don't want to be there. He had attitude. Chelsea, you can deal with him now. But Paulinho's going to be a big miss. And I think he was probably Portugal's best player in the Euros. You saw how good he was, you know, on the ball. He was a very confident, world-class player, to be honest. And I still believe he's a head-to-head facts and figures, he's a better all-round player than Declan Rice. I know we've had it said. Declan Rice's got age on his side.
Yeah.
Look
I remember
comparison.
you saying that before, yeah.
2 consecutive seasons, he's done better than Declan Rice. The only reason why Declan Rice is worth more is age and he's British. But apparently he's going to be a big miss. Can we replace him? I don't think Berger is the direct replacement. I think we're going to get another replacement for him. But we've got survival still the name of the game. Let's be very clear. We keep saying it year in, year out. Get 17th minimum and push on. We should be good enough to stay in this division, but have a rocky start, a bad start. I think we should be okay. I'm confident this season. I'm confident we'll.
I think it will. I think it'll be more than okay. I'm floating you around sort of 12th, 13th, sort of at the moment in my kind of prediction league. But of course, things could change. You don't know what sort of season you're going to have. But Palini will be a miss. But I actually kind of disagree. I think Sander Berger's actually a really good signing. I actually quite rate him. Always have rated him.
Me too.
He was really good at Sheffield United and Burnley. Yes, they went down, but I don't think it was really his fault. I think the team were pretty shambolic, if I'm honest with you. And he was clearly one of the highlights in both, or one of the best players in both of those teams. So I think that could be a really interesting signing. Emil Smith-Rowe is all down to fitness. You keep him fit, you've got a baller, mate. Trust me. He is an absolute baller. So you'll be very, very happy with him if you keep him fit. I actually think that the game against Manchester United, if you were better in the final third, you'd have beaten them.
True.
Yeah, we should have done.
You were better than it. I know Manchester United obviously missed their chances as well, but Adama Traore needs to stop running around in circles. I know he's very good like circus acts, but he just does my head in. He's just such a silky player, and he doesn't actually move or get any output whatsoever. Iwobi's a little bit similar, and I just thought like there was a couple of options there. And I'm thinking, who was it who went through? Was it Pereira? And it's like he managed to hit Harry Maguire. And he just thread him the wall through, and I think, how have you hit Maguire from there? Like he's in, So for me, I think Fulham get better in the final third, and I think you'll be absolutely fine. But I actually have been quite impressed. I think Joachim Anderson's actually a really good signing for 28. It's not like this guy's 33. This guy's 28. He knows Fulham well. I think he's a good centre half, and I actually think that's a massive upgrade on Tosin, in my opinion. I
100%. Believe that. Got a head, international player. He's played at the club before for a season. He was probably, like I said, best player that season when we got relegated. Still, like I said, we're still 3 players short. We were looking at Nketiah ourselves, I think, about a month ago, weren't we, Dan? I think we were sniffing.
Yeah.
We were looking around the 20, 25 million. I would have taken it for 20, 25 million because he's got pace. I think he suits a Fulham type team, but probably a bit like Forest, like to press, high press. So, play with width. I thought for Forest, I think he'll do well at Forest. I actually think people are doing him a disjustice. From what I've seen at Arsenal, he will get you goals, Dave, if you play him on a regular basis. So I'm disappointed we've lost him. The Broder's gone to Ipswich for 30 million. We had him on loan second half last year. Barely got a look in. I know Muniz, had a purple patch where he got all those back-to-back goals. I'm still worried about him. He's had a poor pre-season. Yeah. He doesn't look like scoring goals. It's back to that nervousness. We need to get another striker in. Tony's even been talked about. I don't know. That's a bit ridiculous, to be honest with you. But we need another striker. I don't think we've got enough quality up front. If Pereira doesn't turn up, if Throw doesn't score goals, you haven't got your wide men delivering. Where are the goals going to come from? That's my only reservations. I know we're tightening in defence. We're looking solid in midfield, but we're lacking goals from a central. Who's your leader on the pitch? Muniz is. I hope I'm proven wrong. I've not seen enough in pre-season. I haven't seen enough the last 10 games of last season to suggest he's going to score 12 to 15 goals this year. That's a problem for me. So I think we will see another striker come in, probably on loan. But and Nketiah is another one that's gone by the wayside because Forest have come and snatched him. But overall, we should be fine. But Berger, I don't know about Berger. I wasn't inspired. We could have picked him up 5-6 million a couple of years ago. Now we've paid 3-4 times as much. It's a bit like Plan C, Plan D. That was our third, fourth choice player. We sniffed for McTominay. I would have preferred McTominay. I think he's more rounded, can offer goals up front. He's a bit of a nuisance. But then we didn't want to put the 30 million on the table. Put 25. They wanted 30. They went to Plan C and Plan D, and then that's where Berger came from. It's a bit out of the blue, but that's why you should. If you really want someone enough, just go and pay the bloody money. Excuse my French, rather than going relying on a third or fourth choice player like Berger was. If you wanted him outright, could have gone 2 months ago. So we'll see. The jury's out for me with Berger. I hope I'm proved wrong.
Yeah, listen, I think he's a player. I don't think you've got someone who's a shambles on your hands. So let's see when he starts playing football. You need a striker. Well, there's a striker that everyone's talking about at the moment, Matt, and it is Ivan Toney, mate. I don't know what's happening with him. I don't know if he's going to Saudi, if he's going to United, Chelsea, or Arsenal. Well, he might even stay at Brentford after all this, mate. I've got no idea. But,
we've made about 600 million off him so far from the clubs he's meant to be going to. So, mate, do you know what? It's I saw the other day there was another podcast, and it's probably one you guys are familiar with. I can't actually remember the name of it. It's some Chelsea lad that was talking about Brentford, and he kind of gave his hot take, and it was like, I think Brentford are going to struggle this season, and went off into one, and I was like, that's when you know that someone doesn't follow the team at all. Like, I don't mind, I don't know all the ins and outs of Nottingham Forest or Ipswich or Fulham or whatnot, but it really bugs me when people think that they've got like a hot take on something, and they're like, oh yeah, Brentford are going to get relegated, Tony's going to go. I remember when Tony was out for 8 months and was on the show, and we were talking about, you looked at Brentford's record when it was Wisa and Buemo up top, and actually statistically performed better without him, and that is not to say that he won't be a big loss, but mate, to be honest, I'm going to go out on and this may come back and bite me in the ass very heavily, but I'm going to go out on a whim and say we're going to be a package this season. We've spent the last 3 seasons, I think our transfer dealings have been awful. I think we haven't adapted to the Prem. We don't have any squad depth. Now I'm looking at who we've got, and I do imagine some players are probably going to leave because I think Tony will obviously be one of them. I think we signed that Carvalho from Liverpool, who, like, being brutally honest, watched the most of him I've ever seen in pre-season because we were linked with him quite heavily, and he had an absolutely amazing pre-season. Igor, who looks like a like-for-like replacement for Tony, who's unfortunately injured till, I think, December. But, we saw from Palace at the weekend that Wisa and Buemo are comfortable, and obviously Sade's back as well. We have so many players returning from injury. So we've got kind of Hickey, Rico Henry, who for me is one of the best left-backs in the league as well.
Good player.
I just think, like, I do want to get the Tony thing wrapped up. On a personal level, I think if he goes to Saudi, I'd have a lot of not animosity, but, like, he's just broken into the England squad. Like, you're never ever playing for England if you go to Saudi. You're done. Like, you've shot yourself in the foot. So I'd hate to see that. And I've just seen someone put in the comments as well, like the Solanke for 65 million when you could have got.
Yeah, I just started that. Literally, just started that comment because I wanted to bring it up because I think that's crazy.
I think it would have been. I think it would have made Spurs content. I think Spurs still need more. And as we joked before we got on the show, Spurs fans will tell you that on their day they have the best 11 in the league, and it's so delusional. It's unbelievable. But I think Tony could be a difference maker for someone. Also, like HOTS, who and I have discussed going to Arsenal as well. Like, could have fit in that squad. Needed a lot
of people, Matt. When I speak to him, a lot of people shout me down. They shut me down. I don't want him. He's a gambler. He's hard work. He's a terrible player.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a baller at Arsenal. I honestly believe he would get us 15, 20 goals.
I think he would. And I think he's a difference maker. I think a lot of people talk about the attitude. You read a lot of stuff about him meeting Arteta and Arteta immediately being like, absolutely not. Don't want you as part of the squad or whatever. But I think he could do a job at Arsenal. I think he really would be the difference maker. I think he's a different point of attack as well. But yeah, we'll see. But I just kind of want it to be wrapped up now. I think with players coming back from injury, with the squad, with the signings that we've got as well, we're looking for that Gustavo Nunes as well. He looks quite good. Missed out on a couple of players, but yeah, overall, for once, I'm happy with what we've done in the transfer window, and I think we could put a little run together this season. I don't think on Sunday, I was at the game. I don't think we played particularly great. I don't think Palace played particularly great. We normally draw every time, so it's quite nice to break the mold of that. But I don't think it was very much indicative of both of how our seasons will go. But yeah, I think we've got a lot to come.
Van den Berg as well. Someone's putting in the comments.
Yeah, he just come from Liverpool. So we were sniffing around O'Shea from Burnley as centre back, but I think I'll say Van den Berg's better purely because I'm biased and we've got him. But yeah, no, very confident. I think when you're around the levels of the table that us four are in terms of kind of myself, Dave, Ash, Emilio, it's kind of like, hopefully, I think we'll be safe this season. I think we are getting very close to the end of Thomas Frank time. I know the Denmark job was up for a little while and everyone kind of had squeaky bum time about him kind of jumping ship. But I think we've still got another couple of seasons with him. I think now we brought 2 players in from Liverpool. I reckon Brian and Buemo will probably go the other way at some point. Hopefully not before hopefully not this transfer window, but next one. But yeah, I think we're set up good. I think it's the first time I've come in from a pre-season to the start of the league and said, yeah, I'm relatively confident. And that is why we'll probably get relegated. So.
I was rubbing my hands, Matty, mate.
I'm stunned that no one is sniffing around in Mbemo more, man, because I think Mbemo is a
Good
quality
player.
player. Man.
There was some
Quality
mad
player.
stat the other
Very
day
good.
about his goals and
Spurs,
assists.
Liverpool.
Someone, I don't know if anyone can dig it up, but there's a thing about his goals and assists from open play, and he was like 3rd down the pecking order since Brentford had been in the Premier League or something. It's something crazy like that, and I was like, wow. Like, I mean, I think he's good, but I didn't realize he had the kind of.
No, he's more than good, man. And like when Tony was out last season, people forget that Visser and when we were actually like injured as well sometimes. So it was really hard for Brentford. And I thought that, people were flirting with relegation with you. I understood why, because you were losing players. But Mbeumo was a quality player, man. A quality player. I'll be surprised if Liverpool and Spurs don't sniff around something him, because I think he's a top talent. And you know what? Like someone mentioned last night, I think that he'd be good for Arsenal as a backup to Saka. Now, I don't know that he'd want to come as backup because obviously he wants to play first team football, but I would not be sitting there going, I don't want Mbeumo, keep him away. Like, I'd happily take Mbeumo, do you know what I mean? So I think he's a top talent, man. I have to say, absolute top talent. So let's see what Brentford could do, man. Ash, we might as well come to you, my bro.
Looks like he hadn't been unlocked there for a second.
It was. It's like Ash is back in the room.
What an entrance that was.
You're still on championship electricity bills, isn't it?
I am, mate. Yeah.
Mate, I was watching the game the other night thinking, oh my God, Leicester look terrible. They're going to get smashed about 5-0. And then Jamie Vardy decided to have another party, mate. And do you know what? I loved the shithousery at the end, pointing at the Premier League badge. That was so good. Obviously, I like being an Arsenal fan, but Tottenham and my chat knows of Tottenham fans. Oh my God, we look incredible. We are looking so good under Postecoglou. This is insane how good we are. And then Leicester just went and dunked on them. It was just beautiful to see, man. Listen, a lot of people have written Leicester off. Just a confession as well. I have got Leicester in the relegation zone this season in my Premier League predictions. I'm going to put it out there to you and Dave now so you don't haunt me later. I hope I'm wrong. I like Leicester. I love you, Ash, and I hope you don't go down for the same time. But I just don't think you've done enough. And with another points deduction on the horizon, I'm not sure that Steve Cooper can do the miracle of keeping you up. But I could be wrong, man. I have been wrong before. Talk to me, man. How are you feeling?
Yeah, so obviously it's good to be back. Last season was a roller coaster. At one stage we looked like we was absolutely breezing it, comfortable, talking about points records, and then we got through by the skin of our teeth in the end. Had a summer where we thought we'd be keeping hold of Enzo as a manager and be able to see his style of play in the Premier League and see how that worked, because we had a few goes at a few Premier League teams in the Cup last season. But I'm with you guys. I do think we're going to go down. But Leicester City are a very dangerous underdog. And we're happy to be underdogs for once, because I watched a team full of players 2 years ago that were meant to be knocking on the door for Europe. We lost our goalkeeper and got relegated. I'd rather watch that second half Steve Cooper team that we seen the other night than that team 2 years ago, week in, week out. Tielemans shrugging his shoulders, Maddison doing the same, egos, characters. What I seen in the second half was a team full of players that really wanted to give it a go. And we gave it Spurs in the second half. We'll forget the first half, Dan. We got battered, didn't we? Let's face it.
You did, but you did it by the scoreline, mate. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's very true. But, we've brought a couple of players in. It looks like Ayu's over the doorstep as well. Now, again, a lot of Leicester fans complaining about that signing. Give him chance.
He's class. I've always loved Ayu. I think he's
good player. Great. Proven at this level as well.
Exactly, and that's what we need. What are we expecting here? Let's get players through the door that have got Premier League experience. Why are these guys in the Premier League every season? Because they're keeping teams up and doing it year in, year out. I'll take these players. Yeah, I'll take these players all day long. Let's get us boxing gloves on as Leicester City fans. Get behind the team and get the King Powell back to a cauldron.
Mate, I mean, listen, real talk. Jamie Vardy, we've got to mention him, man. 37 years old, and he's come on and he's killing it. And the way that he's come out in the interview afterwards, it was class to see, man. I think this is genuinely one of the stories of the Premier League history. I honestly
Yes.
do. The way that he's come
Yes.
into the sport, the age he come into the sport, what he's won with Leicester, not just the league, by the way, the FA Cup that people seem to forget about as well, that he's been a massive part of. He's got to be like the number one Leicester legend. I mean, I don't know about you, Ash. He's got to be probably up there. If he isn't one, he's got to be on easily in history, the top three for me, easily. So I look at it and I know that Mahrez and Kante people will look at, and maybe they'll look at players like Emil Heskey still and think
Alan Birchinall.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about Premier League. We don't all go back to 1920, Dave. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I look at it and I think that you've just got to respect the guy, Ash. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many calls, and most of the calls are get the statue done. If that guy doesn't get a statue at Leicester City, there's something seriously wrong.
Yeah.
You know, we are a team really that come into that Premier League. We had the Great Escape season, where we stayed up by the skin of our teeth with Pearson. He went in the summer and Ranieri made history on the back of his team, and Jamie Vardy's just been a pivotal part of all of it. You know, he's broke the record in the Premier League for the most consistent games and goals. He's won an FA Cup. He's won a Premier League. He's won the Charity Shield. He's took us to semi-finals of European competitions and quarterfinals. Guys, he's a hero, and he's done it in a Leicester shirt. He's not gone to a big 16 to try and get his name out there. He's been true to the badge, and he's a living legend for us.
I can't wait to see.
Let me just say, let me just say, as a Forest fan to a Leicester fan, I agree with Dan. It is one of the greatest individual stories, not just in British football, but anywhere. Stockbridge Steels to Halifax Town to Fleetwood to Leicester. And he's still doing it at 37. I was kind of watching him the other night thinking, blimey, is it really 8 years since the Premier League when he was so pivotal? You know, and he's got amazing character. He seems to me to get quicker as he gets older. He is, it is one of the, you know, he's one of the, some of our lot won't give Leicester credit for anything. I'm not like that, as you know, and I love him. You know what I mean? And I just think he's the other night he basically turned the game on its head. And that lot who for like 45 minutes were telling us that we should only sign Champions League standard players rather than somebody from Burnley or somebody from Nottingham Forest or somebody else, were made to look really, really weak and infantile. They were made to look. What do we do now? And I actually think I was watching it thinking, you know what, Ange, do yourself a favour, get away from that club because you're a good guy and a good manager and go somewhere else. And Vardy basically got the whole of Tottenham Hotspur's fan base stadium and everything and took the piss out of it. It was brilliant, mate. For a guy who's been written off.
Yeah, you've got to be careful. Chelsea don't come sniffing for 65 million, though. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah. And
Chelsea
like,
need a striker, you know. Chelsea need a striker.
Please don't put ideas.
I must say, I did love as well the fact that I've been told by Spurs fans that Romero is better than Saliba for the last 2 years, and I saw his defending. Oh my god, what was that all about?
Well, Spurs fans try and make him out to be like Vidic, don't they? They're like, "Oh, big bad Romero, like, mate."
He's the most rash centre half I've seen in years.
It's just because he's a hothead, he gets these comparisons. He's an idiot. He's got more David Luiz than anything else.
David Luiz. He is, isn't he? But that Van der Ven is actually decent. Like, why don't they?
Good player.
You know what I mean? They seem to be obsessed with this Romero guy. It's like, look, he's good. He passes the ball well. He's like a good. He's rash. He gets sent off. He does stupid things. He's got bozo gene. You know, like I don't get it, man. I find it bizarre. But there we go. That's where I'm at, man. Listen, let's come to the.
Also, sorry to interrupt. Craig Shakespeare as well. We saw him pass away.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you want to sort of? What were your thoughts of him, Ash? How much of a legend he was at your club? Yeah.
Again, season after we won the league, he literally had to save our bacon because we were going down. And he got the job, and he come in and he brought some spirit into that team. He always had a smile on his face, always had the 2 balls under his arm. Fantastic human being from what I'm hearing from around the club. Loyal as they come, and Leicester City will always respect and love him. So it's a very sad loss for the club, and I'm sure any other club that he's had part of.
Yeah.
Facts, Ash. No, well done, and
Well
big
said,
up
boys.
Emilio
Well said.
for bringing that up as well. That was very sad when I heard that. Very, very sad. Listen, we have got football this weekend. Matty, you're going to Anfield, man. What are you saying?
Well, we've got half their squad in our team now, so. Do you know what we do? I say we do all right. We always perform all right. We never get a result. I'm actually not going as well, so yeah, I've cried it off. So I think I would take a draw, which is the translation of I think we're going to lose, but if we can nick anything, it's great. But yeah, I think we've actually got quite a tough start to the season, so anything we can get on the board would be ideal. That win at Palace at the weekend was really important for us. So yeah, you never know. I think we'll give it a good shot. I think we'll always do what we go there, sit deep, play on the counter attack. I don't imagine we'd see Toney in the squad. I think hopefully it will be done kind of tomorrow, Saturday. But yeah, I don't think we'll see Toney in a Brentford shirt again now. So how we get on without him. But yeah, I'll take a draw this weekend to be honest.
Yeah, I bet you would, man. I hope you get it as well, must say. Dave, a trip to Southampton. Got to be 3 points, mate, ain't it?
Not necessarily, Daniel. No. Let me, I'm still us East Midlands guys, Potts. You're still reeling from, me and Ash we're going to be Ashberry. You know what I mean? We're going to be like the East Midlands boys together, and we might just clip you up, Gaffer, at the end of the season. I actually think it's a really, really difficult game, right? A lot of ours will be going, well, they come up from the Championship. It's just a straightforward job of getting on the coach, arriving at St Mary's, doing what we have to do, getting back on. No, they play some good football at Newcastle. Oh, you could say Saints, yeah, they didn't beat 10 men, but they played some good stuff, Southampton did. And I think what will happen is we'll go there because it's a Russell Martin team. And I know from when we're in the Championship against Swansea, they'll have lots of the ball. They've got a threat in Adam Armstrong. And it's their first home game back in the Premier League. And it will be a carnival. I remember our first home game back in the Premier League, we beat West Ham. We didn't play very well, but we won. And I think Forest are walking into a bit of a bear pit. But I'm gonna cough out and Nick from the great Brentford poet down there just below me and say I'll take a point as well because I think Forest are going to find it difficult. I'm slightly more confident about the game against Wolves the following week. I mean, with regard to us at the weekend, we played some good stuff first half, and we were deservedly in front and the better team against Bournemouth. I think half-time broke our flow. Plus, I think, and actually the game really, and then to me didn't matter because all I cared about was my mate Danilo's ankle. That was awful, a truly awful injury, right? So the game was kind of like neither here nor there. But no, I actually would be a lot of Forest fans were going, oh no, we're going to beat them. You've got to be more optimistic and all this business. No, I think it's a really difficult game, and I think Russell Martin's good. The only thing with the Russell Martin team is they can be a bit open. Now, the last time Forest played Swansea, Forest won 4-1 off about 18% possession. So a Russell Martin team will give you a chance. But yeah, a point for me Saturday. I'll be happy with that. Anything else is a bonus.
Listen, man. Hopefully you get the 3 points for your sake. Emilio, Ash, I've left it to last for obvious reasons. You got each other. How do you see this one going, Ash?
Obviously, we're the newcomers. We're back up now, and everything is sort of about putting on a good performance, fighting for the shirt. Fulham's a very, very tough place to go. In fact, the last few times we've been there, we've been absolutely ran over. So not very optimistic, but all I can ask is that this Leicester City team put the same performance on that they did in the second half, give it a go, and I can come away from every 90 minutes this season saying, we tried. And that's all I want from Leicester this season. But I think, if I'm being 100% honest, I think Fulham will probably go 2-0 up, and we might grab one back by giving it a spirited go. But I can see Fulham nipping us to the post on this one.
Very honest, man. What are you saying, Emilio?
No, I'm fairly confident on Saturday. If we get Man United, if we had a better quality up in the final third, we probably should have taken the lead. We dominated the first 20 minutes at Old Trafford. Final pass wasn't very good enough for Man United grew into the game. I think we can be play a little bit more high press with a bit more intensity. I think we're at home, first game of the season. We've got the new digital season tickets. There's going to be a bit of a
Oh,
Probably
no.
a bit of test. To avoid that, what they've done, they've introduced £1 beers if you get there before 2:00. So Steve Reynolds flying over. He's staying over with me tomorrow night. So we're going to go and have a few beers early at the club on Saturday. We'll get hammered in the ground there, Steve. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. First game of the season. I think we will win. I'm fairly confident. I know we played you season before last. Actually, that was the last. It was the last home game of the season when. Were you already done, or did we actually relegate you that day? And again, we played some sublime football that day. I know you were down and out, but if we can play to that standard, and there's no reason why we can't, I think we should get a positive result. I'm going 2-0, 3-1. I think there could be goals in this game, but then again, we got Ipswich the following week away. So these are the two games I'm earmarking 4 to 6 points. But I'm looking for. I think we'll win. I think we will win on Saturday.
Well, listen, good luck with the digital tickets because we played Forest on that first time we did it, and it took us an hour to get in. It was absolutely horrendous.
My God. I remember it.
Oh my God, it was awful. I was like, you invite me, I've got to go meet Dave here. I'm not going to meet him because I'm not going to get in. Got to get in the ground.
Actually, I was in your ground, Gaffer, and you weren't. Do you remember?
Absolutely, man. It's crazy. It really is. Big up to you, Gal, for redirect, man. Absolutely love. Really appreciate that, my bro. Thank you so much. We got over 440. We've got 442 people in here. So please make sure you do me a favor. Hit the like button. 442. What a great number. Yeah, make sure you hit the like button, people, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. This has been a pleasure, man. It's so great talking to you guys, honestly. And do you know what's mad? I haven't had a Don or a Deji or a Lawless screaming at me. It's been beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It really has. It's been beautiful to just sit and talk football without you guys ranting and raving at each other. Now, of course, it's all love for them boys as well. But absolute pleasure. We're supposed to have a couple of you joining tonight. A couple of people haven't been available, so obviously we will try to get people on as best as we can each week. Liam was supposed to be on tonight, bless him, because Liam is back as well. Southampton are up. So he's here as well. Love Liam. And he weren't able to make tonight, but he will be here next time. So please make sure you do us a favor, people, and make sure that you are supporting all of these guys, man. All of their Twitter handles are there. All of their social media is there as well. So please make sure that you are supporting them and all of their stuff that they do as well. So please make sure we do that. Legends, listen, stay tuned, people, because in literally 9 minutes' time, myself and Julian are going to be on here talking all things Arsenal. So please make sure you don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. For Rival Talk, we'll be back next Thursday. And it will be a very similar panel, but also a couple of other people probably talking about how they've loved or hated the fact that they've won or lost their game of football. It's always good to get opinions that are very different. So make sure you show some love by hitting the like button, people. And we'll see you next time. Take it easy. We're out of here.